My name is Vinod Kaushik, and I'm going to present a video presentation on the revised draft GST law issued by the GST Council Secretariat on 26th day of November 2016. Before this law was issued, the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers issued a model GST law in the month of June 2016. And that law was actually, it was a mixed law for the CGST, SGST and IGST, but now they have specifically issued 3 sets of laws, and the first law is for the CGST and SGST, and the second law for the IGST, and the third for the compensation law that the center is going to compensate to the states on account of loss due to introduction of GST. So the objective of this presentation is to enlighten you about the changes proposed by the GST Council Secretariat in the model law which was issued by the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers in the month of June. And significant changes have been proposed by the Council Secretariat because 42,000 representations was received by the government, various commercial tax officers, Ministry of Finance, Central Board of Excise and Custom, and the essential understanding, the primary understanding of ours says that almost all of the changes have been incorporated in the revised version of the law issued by the Council Secretariat. Now, I will first start with the changes proposed in the taxable event, that is the definition of supply. And the definition of supply, which was given in the earlier document, was a very comprehensive one, and it was an inclusive definition that the supply includes all forms of supply such as a sale, exchange, barter, lease, license, rental, etc. And that part, that inclusive part and comprehensive part, is still retained in the revised version of the law. So the first limb of the definition of supply is still intact and it is kept same. But the major change that is carried out is in the second limb of the definition, that is import of services. The earlier law says that import of services will be taxable whether it is for a consideration or without consideration, whether for personal use or for the business use. But now the law specifically says that import of services will be taxable if it is for a consideration. If I am importing certain services but I am not giving any money to the supplier of services, then it will not be taxable. And this is the major change that is carried out by the Council Secretariat. And the third and the important change, which was very hotly debated in the industry, that what will happen to the free samples, gifts, buy one get one free, as per the model law which was issued by the Council, by the Empowered Committee. As per that law, the free gift, sample, etc., all were taxable, because I'm giving sample to my customer, I'm giving gift to my customer, I'm not charging any money from my customers because there was absence of consideration. But Schedule 1 of the model law, the law which was issued by the Empowered Committee, that law says if there is no consideration, still it will be taxable. But that anomaly and that trouble is resolved by the Council Secretariat in the refined version of the law. And that is the major change. And the fourth change is the temporary application of business assets and the temporary uses of services for private or personal use. As per the earlier version of the law, it was taxable, but now in the revised law, it is deleted. And these were the major changes in the definition of supply. Now I'll discuss about the second change and the major change. The earlier version of the law, in the charging section of the earlier version, was there was a missing reference of the value on which GST has to be paid. But the latest version or the revised version contained the specific reference of the value, contained the specific reference of the section 15, by following which the value has to be calculated. And this is the major change which was missing in the earlier version of the law. And thirdly, I will discuss about the changes made in the time of supply of goods. The time of supply of goods or services is the time at which GST has to be paid. It is the time at which my liability will accrue. And the model law which was issued by the Empowered Committee had a very comprehensive 4 events, and the earliest of the 4 events was a time of supply. But the revised law has deleted 2 of them. And as per the earlier law, if I I go through the earlier law, take you through the earlier law, it was saying the time of supply of the goods shall be the earliest of the four following events. And the first event was when the goods are removed. And the second was issuance of invoice. Third was the receipt of payment. And fourth was when the recipient shows the receipt of goods in his books of account. But now, out of four, only two events have been retained. And the first is issuance of invoice and the second is the receipt of payment. And this is the major change which was missing in the earlier law. Now I will discuss some of the important and significant changes which are proposed in the valuation provisions. The valuation provisions in the earlier law was given in section 15, and the section is still same in the revised version of the law, but the original principle for valuation, that the value shall be the transaction value, is still same. That is a good change, welcome change, that is still kept in the revised version of the law, that the value shall be the transaction value on which GST has to be paid. This is not changed. But the other changes which are made in the valuation provisions are, earlier the law was saying that if you are receiving any subsidy which is linked to the supply, will become part of the value. But now the revised version says the subsidy which are linked to the price and which are received other than from the central government and state government are part of value. So the sugar industry, the fertilizer industry, which was very worried that whatever subsidy they are receiving from the central government or state government, that will become part of value, that worry is now removed in the revised version of law. And as per the revised version, only those subsidy which are received from other than central and state will become part of value, which is a welcome change for the industry. The other change which is important and which is now clarified by the Council Secretariat is about the discounts. The discounts will become part of value. The earlier version was saying that the discounts which are given at the time or before supply will not be includable in the value of on which GST has to be paid. But the discounts which are given after the supply will become part of value. But now the law clearly says that discounts which are given after the supply, but if those discounts are known before the supply has been made and they are derived from an agreement and linked to a specific invoice, those discounts will not become part of value. So the inclusion of discounts in the value on which GST has to be paid is made very, very clear. The discounts which are given after the supply, but they are known before the supply and they are linked to a specific invoice, that will not become part of value on which GST has to be paid. This is a major change. Now I'll discuss some of the important changes made in the input tax credit. As you know, the earlier version was also saying that input tax credit will be available to registered taxable persons on all goods and services which are used or intended to be used for providing outward supply. So that theme is not changed, that theme is kept intact, but the major change which is made is the definition of capital goods. Now the definition of capital goods in the model law, the earlier model law, was actually based on the HSN codes. That definition was defining specific goods, that this will be capital goods, this will not be capital goods. But now the law clearly says that all those assets which are capitalized in the books of accounts will be capital goods. Now whatever the exercises which were made by the corporates or the companies to bifurcate whether this is capital goods or not, that is no more required, because any asset which is to be capitalized in the books of account will become capital goods. This is a major change, and the business concept for allowing input tax credit is now available. One of the major change for the pipeline and telecommunication tower industry is made. Now these are part of plant and machinery, and input tax credit on these particular industry will be available in times to come. In the revised version law, it is allowed in 3 installment. Now in input tax credit, the earlier version of law was not actually clear. There was ambiguity in respect of inputs to contractors. The law was contained a reference to a term called principal. Now that ambiguity is crystal clear in the revised version of the law. And the revised version of law says that input tax credit will be available to those for whom it is input services for further supply of works contract services. For example, if L&T is constructing a hotel for a hotel company and it is taking some of the services from various subcontractors. So in the L&T is taking the services of subcontractor to provide work contract services to the hotel. For hotel company, it is not an input tax credit, but for L&T and the subcontractors, if they are further subcontracting, the input tax credit will be available, which is a major change and which was hardly pressed by the industry. And the final point, that there was draconian provisions in the model law that input tax credit will be